social practice to me means a variety of different things, but most often, in its many different forms, I feel like there's often a connection to a variety of different publics. It's never one specific public. It can be, sometimes it's a circle of friends, and I know that's quite a controversial kind of a discussion within the realm of social practice. Sometimes it's an elementary school. Sometimes it can be an entire neighborhood, or another example would be working with a group of elders. Trying to think, for me, in the way I look at social practice, there is always some level of contact or engagement with the public, and most often I look at that as in some form of collaboration or some form of intervention, some form of rebuilding perhaps a broken connection with a public or with a group. Sometimes I look at the social practices I'm interested in, usually involve some level of problem solving or a mechanism to resolve a conflict, let's say, within the neighborhood. Most recently, that's the type of work that I've been doing in Santa Ana. It's almost like a bridging exercise. So I've been in Santa Ana working within a very specific community, kind of right outside of the cultural center in Santa Ana. It's a Latino community, and just sort of we've been doing this sort of bridging exercise because the neighborhood is quite split due to the gentrification and the historic racism within the community. So it's taken a year of dialogue and participation in each other's events to sort of build a trust that maybe wasn't there, not specifically for me, but just in general. But I've worked within the community for a year to, number one, build a sense of trust so I can enter at a deeper level into the community. But also I feel that the work, that there's a level of support within kind of different aspects of the community, whether it's through a group called El Centro or through the public library or now through an engagement with Garfield Elementary School. Can you ask another question to help get me refocused?
Can you give some specific examples of what actions you take and what those actions you hope will achieve?
Initially, kind of at the beginning of the time that I spent in Santa Ana, a lot of it was just, trying to get invited to different meetings or different events so I can actually bridge or get to know the community. So, and also through directly participating in, whether it's identity circles or community meetings or, or inviting people over to the art center, asking people to come and participate there with me, because that was something that people were not willing to do. At one point, they didn't feel like they had access to that particular space, so it was just a series of invitations and crossing these sort of invisible lines within the community that people didn't feel like they could cross, or kind of entering kind of rooms and spaces that people didn't feel like they had access to. And so initially it was just doing a lot of outreach and trying to meet people within the community, and then beginning to participate at a different level, whether it was through activist groups or, like I say, identity circle or community gatherings that were kind of dealing with sort of gentrification and the extensive development that's happening in Santa Ana. So just a lot of that type of outreach, it took place over the course of a year. And then in Santa Ana, because of that outreach now with the Santa Ana Public Library, and we're now working on a deeper level of developing grants and projects together that are centered around storytelling and collecting a community archival history about the sort of victims of gang violence within Santa Ana. So now we've entered sort of working on a youth mentorship program with the Santa Ana Public Library and some of the neighboring high schools. There is also, I was invited by the community to develop a piece of public work. So I entered an RFQ and we competed with, I think, 4 other artists, but the community invited me to that table to submit an application. So I submitted an application. So we're developing a piece of public artwork, but then there's this level of engagement with the neighboring elementary school. So we, connected with the principal of the elementary school in our group, the Social Design Collective. We were asked to basically write an arts curriculum for the school that would go for 4 to 5 months, and that we would basically serve the community of Garfield Elementary School, a population 700, through providing an arts curriculum and arts workshops within the elementary school, Garfield Elementary. So those are some specific examples. The object we're making is also, it's called a story circle, and I kind of intentionally created this story circle as a place for women and children in the neighborhood to sit and rest and to share story, but also to embed the notion of the significance of the sort of neighborhood story and kind of individual story. So for me, it's sort of a marker of that these are important stories. For the last year, I've been listening and participating in a variety of different storytelling circles. And so this was a way that I felt I could connect the object to the experience that I had and the process of community building in Santa Ana.